Welcome back. You're watching Morning Express, and it's now time for paper review. And what we're going to discuss is basically all the headlines that are making, all the news headlines that are in our local dailies. And joining me in studio is Joe Halende, who is a lawyer. Thank you very much for making time. So we will start with the Standard. And the headline that is selling there is Eyes on Maraga as Raila puts off swearing in feat. At the top, anxious week over poll cases for governors. In the Nation, Daily Nation, hidden players in Raila's big U-turn, and also to the left, Moi girls fire 100 days later. We'll start with the Star also. The headlines on the Star is, sorry, Raila swearing in postponed. But let's start with our very own Standard. And the story there, Eyes on Maraga as Raila puts off swearing in feat. Now, 6 judges today are expected to give detailed judgment on their verdict to uphold Uhuru's re-election, even as NASA cancels Raila's planned oath-taking. And this is where I come to you, Joe. Law experts want the presidential petition to be, the framework to be changed. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, thank you for hosting me,
Yes.
Actually, according to our constitution, Article 140, Section 1 talks about any person may file a petition to the Supreme Court challenging the declaration of a president-elect.
All right, we have a challenge with your mic, but as we wait for it to be fixed, the story there is on page 5 and 7, and basically top court explains decision on Uhuru's win. Now, circumstances requiring fresh nomination of presidential candidates, implication of withdrawal of a candidate before a repeat vote and vote boycott in certain areas where issues Supreme Court judges will settle today to guide future elections. Now, if you need more on those, on that story, you can just get your copy of the Saturday Standard, sorry. Now, on page 2, there is a very interesting picture there of a dog eating maize, a roasted maize. Very interesting. Carnivores mostly eat meat, but when the economy of the jungle is really bad, even a lion can eat grass. This dog found out. We found this canine in Kaptagat Forest in Elgeyo Marakwet County feasting on a discarded piece of roasted maize. It ate everything, even the burnt parts. It's a dog life out there. Now, we have seen several cases of dogs eating, you know, different types of foods in the streets, which is very, very interesting. Now, on page 3, Faith defies filth at Lakeside City's largest dumping site. Now, amidst overpowering stench, street families gather here to pray before breaking out to scavenge, which is very sad. It is Sunday morning. The picture was taken on Sunday morning, and a group of street families are gathered on top of the heaps of garbage at the infamous Kachok dump site. The dump site receives about 400 tons of waste collected in Kisumu and its environs daily. Now, rugged, dirty and hungry, the group consisting of men and women and children sits quietly on the garbage heaps as one of them reads from the Bible and delivers a Sunday sermon. Right, now let's get back to what you were saying. What are your thoughts on the presidential petition framework changing?
Actually, what the Constitution says about that any person can file a petition challenging the declaration of the president-elect within the 7 days after the declaration of the election. And again, the, subsection 2 talks about the petition being heard and determined within 14 days after the declaration. Yes. Looking at the timeline, there's that school of thought from other legal experts who are arguing that this time, the timing is too short and it cannot allow somebody to file a petition, to draft a petition, to look for evidence across the country and to make a concrete case that can be presented before the Supreme Court. Right. Actually, it's coming at the time after the second petition this year has been thrown out. Yeah. So it means that the timing is too short and actually should be...
All right, we can move on. You had something to say about this dog eating maize earlier on. Share your thoughts on this.
Actually, this picture reminds me of my high school principal, Mr. Bog at St. Joseph Kitale, who used to tell us that saa zingine simba akikosa nyama huna nyasi.
So you know these are things that happen. It's a normal day-to-day
And actually
thing.
it's happening in Elgeyo Marakwet County, where I have my friends. And actually we should, people from Elgeyo Marakwet should tell us what is not happening there.
What are they not giving their dogs?
Dogs, yes.
All right, we can move on to page 3 there. And faith defies filth at Lakeside City's largest dump site. Now this issue of street families, what can be done about it? Your thoughts?
Now, these are the discussions that as a country we need to have now. Yeah, actually, our governors are mandated to look into these issues. Lately, I've been following the Nairobi County politics, and there's nothing coming out from Nairobi County. But in Kisumu County, they've been doing most of demonstrations and not focusing on the agenda and development. In this country now, it's high time we start focusing on development and helping these street children. We get them out. We have to find a place where to put them because this is so unacceptable.
There are about 100 street families at the Kachok dump site. Some of the street families have been praying at the dump site for the past 15 years. So these are people that have grown up there, created families and even children. It's not really fair. We can go on to page 4. Now, death toll in Baringo accident reaches 18. Yesterday, we were interviewing one of the NTSC director on road and safety, and she attributed most of the accidents to human error. What can we do as, you and me as a citizen, because we're the ones who drive. We put lives of our fellow pedestrians, motorists at risk.
Drivers should be cautioned. Especially this Salga place. I heard some time back that they are going to put dual carriage along Salga red spot, because this Salga place has taken many lives of our young people, and it's high time that we look into that issue as a country, and the people who have been given the mandate are like NTSA. They're sleeping on their jobs, so they should just wake up and do the necessary. Most
of the young people are, the people that actually get into these accidents are aged from 20 to 44. These are people that we need in the country. But let's just move on.
And actually, since we are moving into festive period, we should be very conscious when we are driving.
But there's so many campaigns. We hope people will stay safe. Don't drink and drive, people. Now, on page 6, court sets to rules on governor's poll cases. I will just let you give your thoughts on this.
Actually, we are going to have... There are those people who believe that we are going to have mini-election next year. Since most of these cases are going to be determined by next year, within the 6 months. That's what the law says. So... hopefully, next year we're going to see most of these governors back to the people.
We hope so. If you want to get more on that story, get your paper of the Standard. Now we will go to page 7. The story there is Raila succumbs to pressure from West to cancel feat. Do you think he really did succumb to pressure, or maybe there's just something up their sleeve that they're planning?
According to me personally, Raila, Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga has a name to protect. Raila is the father of democracy in this country. And whatever was being planned could have reduced the Raila Nelson Mandela wannabe to a Joseph Kony clone. Because he was going to turn into a fugitive in his own country. How do you swear in yourself as the president, and yet there's a president in that country?
You're supposed to be the people's president, so they say. So on page 8, Kenya gets closer to replacing the 844 system. Now, there's been so many talks about this issue. most of the teachers were saying we're not ready. There's not been, the pilots are not yet enough. Only 10 schools in the 47 counties. In each county, it's just 10 schools. So we really need to do more about this. What are your thoughts? Should we go ahead with the new system?
I'm a product of a O-level, A-level system. And I really like O-level, A-level system. It's better than the 844 system.
So right now you're biased.
No, not being biased, but I think I've been following the teachers conference, and I'm seeing that most of their leaders, the NAT officials, they're opposing the reforms, the education reform being put in place, and they're using dialogue as an issue that the Minister of Education has not tried to reach them on issues to do with the reforms in education.
Yes.
But you and me know that we need to reform our education system. Yes. We have been turning our students into exam-oriented people. We need to have graduates who are more of job creators than job seekers. Yes. And that starts with our education system.
Nurturing skills.
Yeah, nurturing skills.
But then on this other hand, how do you start a system if the teachers that are supposed to be implementing the system are not ready?
Currently, there are 1,600, there are 100,000 teachers who have been undergoing training on the new system. And the system is set to start January. Yeah. So there's nothing, what we have is some push and pull, but I think everything will be sorted out by Matiang'i.
Okay. Yeah. MP, on page 9, MP denies claims he used witchcraft to win seat in polls. A Kitui MP has described claims that he used witchcraft to win the seat in the August 8th general election as far-fetched and fallacy. And a fallacy, Mwingi North MP Paul Nzengu told Kitui residents, Justice Lilian Mutende, that he claims by his Jubilee Party rival and former MP John Munuve were not only false, but malicious. This is not the only
there's
issue.
also an issue about an MCA from Narok. Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
so these issues are witchcraft.
You know, cases in court are determined by evidence and law. So long as somebody can be able to give evidence in court, back it by law, and proves that witchcraft was used, they will go back to election. This reminds me of the famous Muskari Kombo case in Bungoma, where somebody proved before the court that he used witchcraft, and the man was almost banned from contesting. So it's possible. Yes. Okay,
let's just move on to page 10. Police unhappy with school plan. Every regular police officer will contribute 1,000 shillings to go to the establishment of a girls' high school, to raise 60 million for the construction of a girls' secondary school at Gilgil, Nakuru County. Utumishi girls will admit students whose parents work in the National Police Service. Do you think that they should raise this amount?
Yeah, basically we should try to make an economy, or we should try to create individuals who are responsible. Yeah. This thing is, in the long run, it will help the police.
Yes.
But as per now, some of them are opposed to it since they don't see the benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's just move on to page 14. There's a drawing there I really want you to analyze. I believe this is, I wish I could be the president of Kenya. This is a wishing well. And then in the middle, poof, disappears. And then on the next, the right, the what? So down there, there's someone very tiny who says, careful what you wish for. Yes. So if you want to get more information on these stories, what is happening, get your paper, get your standard, get your copy of the standard from your local vendor. But then let's just move on to the Daily Nation. Hidden players in Raila's big U-turn. After a week of political rabble-rousing, it was the soft power of a diplomatic nudge, coupled with the dark-eyed disapproval of the clergy and dash of international pessimism that that put paid to NASA's plans to swear in its own people's president. Now we are aware, you've already commented about that. Next to it, just below it, music fate turns into mourning. We're aware that yesterday, the day before yesterday, there was a crash that involved musicians. That is also on page 2. On page 3, U.S. diplomat quits over Trump's tactics. Military fast approach has led to warning diplomatic influence, she warns. Nairobi-based American diplomat described as a rising star has resigned in protest over President Donald Trump's administration's military-focused foreign policy. And next to it, still on page 3, Kenya among top countries with high contraceptive use. I want you to comment on that. Kenya ranks 7th globally and 3rd among African countries on women and girls of reproductive age who have embraced modern contraceptives, says a report by Family Planning.
Actually, this shows how the Kenyan population is enlightened to reproductive health care in this country compared to other countries in the world. So it's a thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up that we're using contraceptives.
Actually, we need to do family planning. Yeah, because now the economy is getting a bit tighter and we are...
All right. And on page 4, the pressure behind Raila's U-turn, we've talked about it. On page 5, counties urged to pay contractors. Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry Chairman Kiprono Kitoni has appealed to counties to prioritize payment of contractors once the national government disperses funds. Now, this issue of delaying payments is very common in our counties. How can we solve this?
This shows how rotten our system is to some extent. Actually, these things are happening in particular counties where contractors are not being paid. Most of the country, contractors are being paid. But in some regions or rather counties, contractors are not being paid. And the issue must be addressed immediately because we must get to the bottom of this thing. How? Because money was allocated. Money is in their account. The job has been done. Why is the contractor not being paid?
And these people depend on actually this money to survive. So it's not fair. All right. And
most of these contractors are fellow youths who are doing these jobs. So these counties need to pull up their socks. And immediately I can see here the chairman for commerce is issuing instructions that immediately the money is disbanded, let the contractors get paid.
All right. And now, Star... the headline there is, sorry, Raila swearing in postponed. On page 2, MPs unhappy over delay in CDF money release. But if you want to get more details, you can always get your copy of the Standard newspaper at your local vendor. Thank you very much, Joe, for joining us. But before we take a short break, we are asking you on our big questions to share your views on the suspension of Raila's swearing in. Share your views on the suspension of Raila's swearing in. You can always tweet me directly at Ashley Mazuri or at KTN News. The hashtag to use is Morning Express. We are asking you to share your views on the suspension of Raila's swearing in. We will be sampling your feedback as we go on with the show. Let's take a short break.